channel. We are filming at Woodland Manor today because this investigation is in my neck of the woods, and we are one of our Halloween episodes. So we are going to talk today about Rose Marie Ferron. She was a mystic and a stigmatist. So for those of you who aren't familiar, stigmata is when people actually show signs of the crucifixion. They'll get the marks on their hands and their feet, and they will actually suffer as if they are being crucified. So they basically suffer with Jesus to save the sinners, is what it is. So Rose Marie, better known as Little Rose, was actually born in Quebec, Canada. She was the 10th of 15 children.
Holy mackerel.
So her mom was out working in the field, and she's like, oh shit, I gotta have this baby. She went and had him in the stable. So, like, Jesus, Little Rose was born in a stable. But, I mean, 10 kids at this point, this lady's just spitting them out. Like,
Right, and then back into the field, probably.
Back
right?
to her.
Yeah.
At my 10th. So eventually the family did move to Fall River, Massachusetts, and again,
They did?
full circle back to us.
I know
Yes,
that.
back to
Oh.
Fall River. So everything always comes, every episode we do, something always comes back to the Bordens, or it comes back to Fall River. Like, it's weird the way it happens, because I didn't know that either until I did some research.
Oh, I have to find that house she lived in.
Yeah, for sure. So when Little Rose was 6 years old, she began to have visions. She claims that, well, I mean, I don't say claim, I believe her. She saw Jesus carrying the cross. She said he just had this awful sadness in his eyes. So 6, that's pretty young for a 6-year-old to see something like that.
So at age 13, she develops this mysterious paralysis. I mean, she had to walk with crutches. Eventually, her feet became so twisted that she was confined to the bed. And then she would get these painful muscle contractions where they literally had to tie her to a little wooden bed so she wouldn't hurt herself.
I remember there was a story, Little Rose was in her own words, when she was about 16, she looked out the window and she saw the other girls going off to have fun, and she was just so sad that she couldn't join them. But I mean, eventually she came to accept her gifts and, you know, was happy with what was going on.
Wow.
So a year after the family moved to Woonsocket, and Woonsocket is like a couple towns over from here, which is why we're at Woodland Manor today. But a year after moving to Woonsocket, Little Rose began to have her stigmata. She had more than anyone else in the United States. She had the marks on her hands. She had them on her heart, her feet. She also had a crown of thorns on her head. She eventually began to cry tears of blood. She would actually have the flagellation marks on her body, which is if she had been whipped. Her shoulder was out of place, which is what happened to Jesus as he was carrying that heavy cross. She also, at times, her face would manifest the face of Jesus, and she would look like Jesus.
Wow.
Yes. So she, you know, she suffered, man. She really did. Like, she would start it would start late. It was the same every week. It would start late Thursday night, and it would go through all of Friday, and then by Saturday, it was gone.
That's amazing. So Rose also had this, like, mystical phenomenon. Like, she could heal people. Twice she healed blind people and became blind herself.
Wow.
And then her sisters were given birth, and she could take on their labor pain. And there was this woman whose husband had just died.
Yeah.
And the poor thing had a family she had to take care of, but couldn't work because her hands were all crippled. So Rose heals the woman's hands, and then her own hands become crippled. I know, it's so sad. So she also had, like, this power to, like, read minds, almost. Like, she could tell a priest from a layman. She could sense if something was, like an object had...
Like a holy object.
A holy object, yeah.
Wow.
I know, amazing.
Little Rose had some amazing gifts.
I know. Can't even imagine her
Wow.
life, right?
She really did, yeah. So Little Rose's cousin, Rose Mayette, actually cared for Rose, and Little Rose would go into this, they would call it an ecstasy, and that's when she would talk with Jesus. And the doctor even said, like, it's almost like she was in a coma and you couldn't lift her, like her head would just feel like lead. You couldn't move her body.
Wow.
But during one of these ecstasies, God started to instruct her to build this chapel, the Chapel of Thorns. So she put Little Rose Mayette in charge of that, her cousin, because she couldn't do it herself. And she said, I have a really big job for you. And Rose Mayette was building it at her home in Glendale. It actually took her 70 years to build that.
70,
yes,
did you say? Wow.
70 years she worked on that. And she finally finished it. And then Little Rose passed away at the age of 33. She actually foresaw her death because she did ask Jesus. She said, how much longer till I can come and be with you? And he said 7 years, and Little Rose passed 7 years later when she was 33.
So she never got to see the thorns when it was finished?
No. So we know Little Rose's mom had 15 children.
Yep.
She was a devout Catholic. So she devoted each of her 15 children to something called the Mysteries of the Rosary. Now, I'm not Catholic, I'm a Baptist, but I had never heard of this, so I looked it up. So apparently, I thought when you did the Rosary, it's just like, Hail Mary, Mother of God, like.
I
but
thought
it's
so
not,
too, and
yeah.
I am Catholic, so I'm bad now.
Right. So the mysteries are basically Bible verses, and they're in different categories. So I guess on certain days when you do it, you're supposed to think about these mysteries as you're doing it. So Little Rose was the 10th child, and she was devoted to the 10th mystery, which was the crucifixion.
Wow.
How ironic is that?
So that makes sense.
Right, right. Like,
I mean, she was really devoted to the crucifixion.
and I wonder if, like, the other kids, like, lived up to their mysteries. I'm curious.
That's interesting.
Right, yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Hers was in the sorrowful category. So it's kind of unusual. Here we are on a Friday. Luckily, I was able to get the day out of work because one of the places we're going is Little Rose's Museum, which is only open on Fridays because those were the days that she had her stigmata. And I think what they tried to do with it is they moved that Chapel of Thorns to this new spot that they got. And they have Little Rose's bed there. I don't know these people, and I don't know if they're going to let us film in there, but we're hoping, guys, that so you can actually see it and enjoy it with us.
We'll respect whatever they say.
Yes, yes. And we're also going to go to the cemetery. Now, Little Rose was buried at Precious Blood Cemetery in Woonsocket. She's a beautiful headstone. It actually says Stigmata right on her stone. It's gorgeous. But the cemetery, I cannot remember the year, but 20s, 30s maybe, they had a giant flood, and all the caskets came up out of the ground, and they were floating down the street. So the problem with that is, how do you know which one to put back in which spot? So there's a little bit of unrest there. So we're going to go, we're going to try to speak to Little Rose. I feel like I've been talking to her all week. I hope she comes through, because I feel like the way the world is now, we need a message of hope.
We need people to heed these messages.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really hoping that Little Rose comes through. They say that she does heal people. People have gone to her grave, and she's still healing people. Wow. So that's amazing. So we're going to go, and we're going to try to communicate with Little Rose. We're going to go to the museum and, kind of see where that takes us. We have one little surprise we're going to kind of, throw in this mix for you guys. You ready? Let's do this. All right, guys, here's your little surprise before we head on to Little Rose. We have the movie set for Hocus Pocus 2 right near my house.
There it is.
There it is, guys. Wouldn't be a Halloween episode without Hocus Pocus 2. Just saying. So, guys, here we are with Rose Marie. We're going to try a little bit of spirit box and some EVP. We put out the REM pod. She's been going near the REM pod. The little ghost is ghost activated. I told her it's just fun because it's Halloween. So Z, can you kind of get a close up of her? Her stone is amazing. It says Stigmata right on her stone. Little pamphlets for her museum are right over there as well. So I'm really excited. She's excited for this too, I think, and you know she's already been setting off the REM pod, so that's pretty cool.
Well, REM pod's been going on.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna do some spirit box. We had this talk. We're Christians. We just are really trying to get a nice message for the world right now. Is there anything you could tell us? Words of wisdom, anything that would be uplifting? We'd love to hear from you. REM pod's going on. Thank you, so whoever's setting that off, we appreciate it.
Is it okay that we're here?
We know that you can still heal people. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Your story is incredible.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the REM pod's still going off as we're speaking. Can you try to talk to this little black box, Little Rose? It's hard. You have to come through really quick. We're going to visit your museum after we leave here. We're very excited about that. And we're going to see your chapel and do some prayers at your chapel while we're there. Can you try to come through? A couple of words? It would be awesomely amazing. If not, we'll try something else. Oh, and if you could fix my eye, that would be amazing. Something wrong with my eye. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's try a prayer. Let's try a prayer.
Our Father,
Who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
I'm sorry,
For
but
thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. I did the Baptist version, you did the
okay,
Catholic
I
version.
stopped because I got lost. Sorry.
Sorry, Little Rose, I'm a Baptist. She's Catholic, she's Catholic. So,
I think
go ahead.
Jesus is all religion.
Yeah, he is. And you know, I mean, we carry our church in our heart. We carry it in our heart, Little Rose. We do. I'll give you a couple more minutes to try and get a couple words in.
Is there anyone who wants to speak to us about Rose?
Church bells. All right, guys, so we're up here on this awesomely amazing Coliseum.
Right.
I thought maybe like this is kind of like the epicenter of the cemetery, so if anybody wants to come through that might be here, could come through. We have the REM pod set up. Of course, we have our little ghosts set up because it's Halloween.
It's Halloween.
Sue does not like my little ghost. She's annoying. So does anyone here at Precious Blood that'd like to come? Hi. Come through. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes. I'm Deb, Sue, cameraman Z. Anyone have any messages?
Or could you walk over and touch that thing behind me? Won't hurt you. Just let us know you're here.
That was a woman. Hi.
Hi, is it okay if we try and speak to you? We're not trying to disturb anyone, but if you want to speak to us, we're here.
What was your name? Wait a minute. Thought I heard Tom. I'll have to listen to that.
It was a short name.
Hi, Tom. Nice to meet you. We only have a few minutes. We're going to visit Little Rose's museum. Miss Marie Ferron. Are you familiar with her?
Yep.
We're going to go visit her museum on Arnold Street. And find out where her family home was. Maybe we could visit there as well. I'll give you a couple more minutes. Listen back.
Same woman.
Yeah.
Sound the same. Bonjour.
Parlez-vous français?
You can just ask her to go sleep.
See, I know that French song.
Well, if you are dormez-vousing, we're sorry to wake you.
Hang up now. Thank you for coming through.
A few voices, guys, a few voices. Typical to get some responses in a cemetery, but you never know who's coming through. It's windy, it's tough to
You can cut, see? Alright guys, so we got a woman. You can tell us what you think she's saying. Sue and I have been going back and forth. First we thought chateau, and then, I don't know, just gonna let you guys listen, okay? So you guys let us know what you think. Chateau is a French word, so that's a possibility.
I don't know.
Well, we're rolling. So
guys, we got something we heard over the spirit box, which to Deb and I pretty much sound like Fatoma. You can see Deb's little ghosty here keeps going off. So for the heck of it, I looked up the French word, and it's actually Fatoma. It's pronounced like Fatoma. Fatome.
Yep.
So very similar to the EVP we received. Possibly they're just fascinated with that, and that's what they're saying.
So I'm going to play that for you guys. Ready? Get closer, Z.
oh, and also it keeps going off whenever the camera turns off. So
Yeah.
And
there's that as well.
Yeah.
It goes off by itself.
Trick or treat. All right, let me play this. Loud traffic, guys. I'm going to wait till that motorcycle goes by and play it again. you guys could hear that.
Yeah.
With that, we're in the city, guys. The cemetery's in the middle of the city. So, Toma. So that was pretty cool. That was very relevant. That was cool.
If that's what she's saying.
If that's
I
what she
don't
was
know.
saying, but
it could be. It's a possibility anyway.
Yeah.
It's what makes sense.
Alright. So, REM-pod's going off.
Which it hasn't gone off the whole time we were sitting here.
No. And our ghost, of course, has been going off. Can you step away from that, please? Can you step away from the REM pod?
Can you make the little ghost go off now? Fatoma?
Switch over to the ghost. If you go near that, that'll go off too.
Whoever's touching that, can you step away, please? Alleluia. Alleluia, I think that's right. Step away, please. The thing about REM pods, though, it could be environmentally going off.
Yeah, you don't know, but there's nothing really.
I mean, the wind hasn't really changed since we sat here. It wasn't going off the whole time. Just a consideration, I don't know.
And I want to play this for you guys. As I was singing my little Farajaka, someone said Deborah. So I should probably shut the REM pod
Deborah,
off so
stop
you guys
singing.
can hear it. It's like, Deborah, stop singing. All right, you ready, guys? So that was pretty cool.
Sure
I said my name?
telling you so.
No, you don't say Deborah. I feel like Deb,
You
shut
never
up.
sang before. Might have came out.
All right, let's see what else we got. So here we are, guys. Little Rose Marie Ferron Foundation. Look at this adorable little chapel. It's beautiful. So we're gonna go inside. Don't know if we can take you with us, but this is it. The Rose's sleeves that she would wear. Amazing. Her dresses she would wear. Yeah, her clothes. So I wanted to show you guys some things that we got from Little Rose's Castle. Really interesting. So they gave us these rose petals, which I thought were really cool. He had said they came from her grave, but on the little thing here it says rose petal touch to the mementos of Little Rose Ferron. So I thought that was really cool. They gave us these beautiful rosaries. I got to pick my purple color. They're like, well, you really should pray the rosary. It's very powerful. But I'm a Catholic, but I thought these were really cool. This I thought was amazing. This is called Little Rose's Oil, and they sell it. Apparently, her cousin Rose told everyone that after a while, when she started to go into her ecstasies, she would receive oil. Now, I don't know where the oil came from. But anyway, this is from her ecstasies. And it's kind of cool. What she said to do was, when it gets down a little before half full, you have to refill it with 100% virgin olive oil. But it always has to be a new bottle that you refill it with. So, and it will always be holy oil. So I'm like, this is from God. This is so cool. I can't believe we got this. My sense of smell is really strong now since I started to do my Reiki. But I can smell olive oil, but it also has a weird undertone that I can't figure out. It has the little rollerball. So yeah, got our medals. Sue and I are really holy this week. Okay guys, so what I did was when we went in, we were not allowed to film. So I went out back out to the truck, grabbed my voice recorder. Because I know when I do house cases, I always record as we're doing the walkthrough. And if there's someone there, they generally come through. So I voice recorded through the whole time that we were in there, and Little Rose was there. It was crazy. So we were at one point, the man was telling us how when her sister Flora finally passed away, that her cousin Rose was able to actually show the items to the public, which is, I think, what Little Rose wanted. And I clearly heard behind him, I heard it with my own ears, like a and I did catch it on tape. It's kind of in the background, so that one's a little difficult to hear, but I could hear it with the headsets. He also talked about how at one point the Bishop of Providence had asked Little Rose for help. The church was having a crisis, and she took this on, and because of that, she started to have her sufferings on Sundays as well. So I clearly heard this lilting woman's voice in the background. I don't want to play it because it was like behind his voice, and I don't think he wants his voice on tape. But this sweet little voice goes, "I can do this." So it was really cool. I knew she was definitely there, and we kept feeling the cold spots. So then we had left the first room that he brought us in. We had to walk through this little hallway to the second room where her little bed was set up. I don't know how this happened, and I never expected this, but I got an EVP and a woman said, "Lizzie." I don't know if it was Little Rose, because, she's in spirit form now, so she pretty much knows everything about us, and if she was commenting on that. But this one, again, is off in the distance, but I'm going to try to play it, and I'm really hoping that you guys can hear it. So I really wanted you guys to hear the Lizzie, but it's just not loud enough. I tried to put it out there for you, but I don't think you guys are going to be able to hear it. So then when we got over to the second building where her chapel was, he again started to talk about how her sister Flora died, and Rose was able to get and show him one of the items. And again, it was a whole sentence. I couldn't make out what it was, but you could hear the sweet little woman in the background and the whole sentence, and then a bang. So then we got outside, and I wasn't even going to listen back to when I taped outside, because I said, well, with the traffic and everything, you're not going to be able to hear this. So we went over to the back of the courtyard, and he explained how there were all these beautiful wild roses, which were little roses growing there. And then the priest that was with us asked him, he goes, well, what's that building over there? So he was explaining to him what that building was. And clear as day, right into the camera, I heard Rose. Now, it wasn't me, it wasn't Sue. And we had been feeling her out there. We've been feeling the cold spots out in the courtyard. And we knew she was there. But it definitely, I didn't recognize this voice. But clear as day, this one you should be able to hear. It says Rose.
Rose. Rose. Rose. Rose. That is
All right, so that was amazing.
Yeah.
I really felt Little Rose with us the whole time. We went to the cemetery. Now, my REM pod really ever goes off. It's not like one of those ones that goes off all the time. And I placed it on her grave, and it just kept going off as we were speaking to her. And for the fun of it, I brought the motion-activated ghost, because I thought, I know Rose has a sense of humor, and she would get a kick out of it. That was going off as well.
Phantoma.
Yep. So, yes. We didn't get anything on the spirit box as we were sitting there, but we went over to that beautiful Coliseum, and that's where we got all of those great things that came through on the
Yeah, a few
spirit box.
people were speaking to us. We got the REM pod go off. We got the little ghosty go off.
Yep. And in fact, we thought that it was the woman that came through. We thought she was saying Fatima, but Sue looked it up, and Fatoma is ghost in French, and there's a lot of French people there, and Little Rose was, French Canadian as well, along with her family. So I feel like that. And then the guy that said Deborah, that was crazy. So we did get some activity at the cemetery, which was fun. And then her Little Rose's castle it's amazing.
The museum, yeah.
Oh my God, you can feel her. I know she was in there. As he was speaking, I heard a woman. I actually did record the whole time we were in there. So I haven't had a chance to go through it, guys. If I get any EVP, which I feel like I will, I'll play that for you.
And we'll throw some still shots that we got up on so you can see the interior.
They wouldn't allow us to film, so I did some photos. He said we could do photos as long as we didn't make money off them, and we'd never do that. We're not going to make any money off of this. We just want to show Little Rose's life. And so we're going to do like a little slideshow for you. You'll see the slideshow. So I really felt like she was there. Like I said, I heard her. I heard a woman when he was speaking about after her sister passed, that they were able to actually move some of her items for people to see.
Yeah.
And the items they had, oh my God, her little bed, her chapel, they put the chapel back together, her clothing, and you can still see the blood on the blood stains on the clothes. I was just totally overwhelmed. The whole thing just totally overwhelmed me. I could feel it when I was in there, and we were hearing sounds as well. And even at one point when we were in the chapel, he heard a sound in the other room. He actually moved the blanket thing to look to wow. So
fascinating to learn that the Stigmata all started in Fall River when she lived there, guys.
Yeah.
And
then the message.
Kind of,
Sue got a message.
I kind of put a picture, one of the pictures, up on Facebook, and a response from a friend who said that his grandparents used to take care of Little Rose at a little Swansea farmhouse, which coincidentally was right across the street from the Borden farmhouse, guys.
It all comes full circle for us all the time, right? It's amazing.
It was Gardner owned, I believe he said.
It's just that it's always goes back to Lisbeth.
Everything's relevant.
Everything with us, it's crazy. And what did he say? They used to tell him stories, but he would just get so freaked out by it.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't really want to hear those stories, because it's an overwhelming thing to have happen. Like, a stigmata. That's, and I feel like so much even closer to Little Rose. Oh, and our medals. We got these amazing medals. The man was
shaking like a bubble over there behind the camera. I see his hand going.
The caretaker there was amazing. He was Franciscan. He gave us these medals because these are what.
If you would like to come in so I can.
Oh yeah. Take
Sure.
a peek at these medals. Little Rose.
I can zoom in.
Little Rose used to
Give
give
out these
focus.
medals. So it's pretty cool.
Virgin Mary.
Yep. So we're going to say the prayers, the special prayers that we can say. We just feel so holy today after all this. There was a priest on the tour as well. But he was so loving and so kind, and he hugged us when we left, and he's just trying to spread Little Rose's message. And this is why they have this museum open. They're spreading her beautiful message of God.
So
and
if you guys get the chance to go, it's Woonsocket.
Yeah, Arnold Street in Woonsocket. And it's the Rose Marie Ferron Foundation. They could really, really use donations as well. They're a non-profit. they're trying to build up this beautiful area for Little Rose, and they're trying to spread the word of God as well. So, I mean, it's an amazing message. It's an amazing story.
No
And-
cost to go in the museum, though, if you
No,
can't
but
afford it,
if-
guys. Totally free.
Yeah, if you can give a donation.
You just get a
I
feeling
mean-
when you walk in there.
Oh, it is. They picked a good spot, and after they picked it, he said they got all of these little signs that they picked the right spot. It was a tree that they had cut down, and when the new little shoots come up, there were thorns. So then there was also
The small roses.
small roses
A
started
whole wall
to grow. The
was covered with
wild roses.
wild roses, which are little roses.
Yeah. So that they definitely got confirmation that they picked the right spot. It's beautiful, and they call it Little Rose's Castle, and it looks like a little mini castle. But they do, like most nonprofits, they have a lot more work to be done. So, anybody that can help out, that would be amazing.
If you're interested also, guys, there's going to be a talk at St. Anne's Parish on November 14th. It's a
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yep.
2 o'clock, was it?
So definitely check it out if you want to learn
You know,
more
again,
about.
it's free if you're in the Fall River area.
You want to learn more about Little Rose. So this was our first episode for Halloween. We're going to definitely try to get another one out to you guys. We kind of have a surprise. So hopefully we'll get that one finished before Halloween as well. So I just want to say, in case we don't get back, but I think we will, happy Halloween.
Always. Should be all year.
Should be all year. I agree. Be sure to subscribe. We can really use those subscribers. We're almost up to 300. So we want to hit that 300 mark. We're going to do something special when we hit the 300 mark. So spread the word. Just like to thank you guys so much for watching. We love you guys. Be sure to share the love. Bye.
Bye.